Hi, my name's Kyle Stevenson. I'm a know-nothing, arts degree, wannabe but never was, creative, with a little disposable income, and a lot of disposable time. It's my goal to use my God-given ability to Google to bring you the absolute tip of the iceberg when it comes to what's happening in Toronto, in an obviously incredibly poor imitation of all those other shows. Perhaps, one day, if humanity survives, our grandchildren will rediscover originality. Until then, this is the least we know. Today, body cameras. The first step in creating a cyborg police force, which we definitely won't regret. In response to demands for accountability and calls for at least part of the Toronto Police Service's $1.2 billion budget to be reallocated to support community services in the wake of the tragic death of Regis Korchinski-Paquet in the presence of 6 Toronto police officers, Mayor John Tory is waving the arrival of long-talked-about body cameras for police over his head like a drowning man trying to save his ice cream cone. To be fair to the mayor, body cams enjoy a lot of public support, or at least they did, according to surveys conducted during the Toronto Police Service's Body Cam pilot project in 2015. 92% of people who responded said they thought the cameras would make the police more accountable. That means that even as this dress was tearing us apart, support for police body cameras was bringing us back together. But of course, if raw belief was all we needed to find solutions to difficult problems, then we would have long ago vanquished the coronavirus with powerful lights and injectable disinfectants. So, let's look at the science. One of the first studies of body cameras was led by William A. Farrar, who in 2013 was getting his master's degree at Cambridge University while also being the police chief of Rialto, California. F***ing slow down, William. In a move that definitely didn't make the other grad students feel insecure, Farrar had body cameras placed on 54 officers for a year and found that when officers wore cameras, they were involved in half as many use of force incidents, and complaints filed by civilians against officers went down 90% compared to the previous year. The Rialto study would go on to be one of the most widely cited cases in support of police body cameras, but it would not go unchallenged. More recently, 2,224 officers in 7 different districts of Washington, D.C. were given cameras for a minimum of 7 months. Results indicate that cameras did not meaningfully affect police behavior on a range of outcomes, including complaints and use of force. Now, I know what you're thinking. What we have in our hands right now is a classic Rialto said, Washington said situation. You hate to see it, but it happens all the time. How can we know who is right? Well, for further context, we can look at a study of studies. The Center for Evidence-Based Crime Policy at George Mason University reviewed 70 empirical studies on body cameras and found that while much of the research remains mixed, it counters some promised benefits of body cameras at a time when departments are increasingly adopting the technology. Technology. For example, 6 of the reviewed studies suggested officers wearing cameras were less likely to use force, but another 8 studies found no statistically significant effects. But wait a minute. We're not here to talk about California or Washington or the Center for Evidence-Based Crime Policy at George Mason University. This is a small community show, okay? My director of photography is a ladder. So let's talk about the Toronto Police Body Cam Pilot Project and see what they found out about the city that we all share. So, here in Toronto, our study consisted of 85 officers wearing body cameras for at least some time during the pilot period. Very scientific language, so precise, no red flags, I love it. There were 6 goals for the study, ranging from enhancing public and police safety to protecting officers from unwarranted accusations of misconduct. After 10.5 months, what did the numbers say? In terms of achieving the pilot goals, the quantitative results were not compelling, though they did perhaps indicate trends that would have become clearer in a longer study. Did we do a longer study? Okay. There was a relatively small number of officers who wore the cameras during the pilot. Perhaps because of this, there was no significant incident or situation that arose that would have provided an opportunity for the body-worn cameras and associated video to demonstrate value, or lack thereof, for police accountability and public trust. That said, Most people in the community felt that the cameras would make the police more accountable and improve public trust in the police, and felt even more so at the end of the project than at the beginning. And so we're back to where we started. The Toronto Police Pilot Project was unable to prove any of its goals for the cameras. But the report emphasizes again and again that we the people, Ibaka bless us, we believe. And why wouldn't we? Cameras have obviously brought more accountability to police. Google video contradicts police if you feel like feeling very, very sad. But even as body cameras have become more ubiquitous across the United States, these videos are still overwhelmingly brought to us by civilians. Police, it turns out, hate sharing their embarrassing selfies just as much as the rest of us. The Associated Press tested the public's ability to access police video for Sunshine Week, an annual celebration of open government, by filing open records requests related to roughly 20 recent use of force incidents in a dozen states. They were met with a series of denials and failed to unearth video of a single incident that had not already been released publicly. And so, in summary, we can say that studies in the United States on police body cameras are at best mixed and at worst disappointing. The Toronto Police Service's own study was unable to prove that the cameras change police behavior or provide more accountability. Of course, for the study to prove that the cameras bring more accountability, the police would have had to hold themselves accountable. And if the police were able to hold themselves accountable, then we probably wouldn't be talking about police body cameras. In the summary of that mega study of 70 summaries, Dr. Cynthia Lum, one of the co-authors, and a woman with so many credentials that I will summarize them here as crime doctor, said that agencies influence technology, not the other way around. We definitely know that there are so many worthy social programs that could use the money that is currently going to be earmarked for body cameras. And that is the least we know.
Hope sucks. I know. You and I, we've done it all before. First sun, then snow. Then I'll ask a question you don't have an answer for. But I could run, I could run, I could run. You could go, you could go, you could go. We could try, we could try, we could try. Then at least we know. I could run, I could run, I could run. You could go, you could go, you could go. We could try, we could try, we could try. Then at least we know.